here in Pacifica with Nancy Davis, owner of Shelldance Gardens. Nancy, this is an extraordinarily beautiful place.
Oh, thank you.
It seems to be primarily orchids. Will you tell me a little bit about how you started the business and when?
Oh, golly. We started, myself and my business partner, Michael Rothenberg, in 1976 and have been going ever since. So that's almost 37 years now, doing something very extraordinary.
And how many varieties of orchids do you grow here?
We specialize, since we're located right here on the coast, facing we can't see it right through that door is the Pacific Ocean. So we specialize, as I say, in cool growing orchids, and with that I have thousands.
Thousands?
Thousands of orchids, all different genera,
and
all different types.
And who buys them? Is it mainly locals? Are they shipped elsewhere? What happens with them?
We are a favorite destination for people in the Bay Area. And so I would say that most of our customers are people who stop in on the weekends, see orchids, fall in love, have to take a bit of Shelldance home with them, and so thus the orchids go out the front door. Although we do ship. So I do send the plants all over the United States, but most of it is carry out.
So then are you open for tours? Are they formal tours, or do people just come and wander through and see what they like? How does that work?
I do it in two ways. People can go through the greenhouses on a self-guided tour. We have a lot of informational plaques throughout the greenhouses, so give a little background on plants that they might be seeing, and or history, cultural information, that sort of thing. Then we also do special group tours where people can contact us, and we'll set up a day during the week that they can come either with a school group or ladies group or a group, you know, anyone in sometimes in the industries, you know, different, looking for something to do.
So I understand you had a large sale to Singapore not long ago. Will you tell us about that?
Oh, that was really wonderful. We spent 1 year coordinating that order, that sale. We sold the major part of our bromeliad collection to the government of Singapore, and it's now, for anyone who's traveling around the world, they can stop in Singapore, go to the National Botanic Garden, and see within that orchid garden is a bromeliad garden, which was sponsored by Lady McNeese, and it has its own private crew of gardeners to take care of it. Gorgeous sculpture, so they found a great home.
And how many thousands of plants were involved in that when you did that?
I wouldn't exaggerate it if I said that there was maybe 15,000 plants. It was 3 plane loads that went over. And that was sponsored by FedEx. And so that was something that the Singapore government was very grateful to that company for sponsoring the shipment, or covering the cost of the shipping.
And I believe I read something about your having been involved in a major motion picture with your orchids, or what was that?
Well, after 37 years, a lot of things going on, and since this plant family is so diverse, they kind of rather lend themselves to theatrics, and so our plants, I have to say, if you looked at the Star Trek movie, you would see our plants in it.
Nice.
Nice. We've also had plants that have been the subject of books, like The Orchid Thief. And because we started way back in the day when all that orchid intrigue thing was going on. Of course, I didn't know what was going on. I was just learning about the plants.
So oftentimes people are afraid to own an orchid. They think it's difficult to maintain them or keep them alive. Is that true, or what's your opinion on that? Are they high or low maintenance, would you say?
I'd say there's an orchid for everybody. That's what I would say. There are difficult ones if you're the type of person who wants to fuss over and coddle a plant, and then there are some really easy ones that are very beautiful that would just love to be in, you know, just say the regular house.
I see.
So there's something like 50,000 different orchids. That's a lot of flowering plants. So within 50,000 plants, there's something for everybody.
Okay. And is there something to the idea that if you have an orchid, you just put in an ice cube a week and that's fine? Have you ever heard that? Oh, I thought I'd ask.
I saw on the internet that they said that was the ice cube technique.
And so that's a bad thing.
Well, you know, after a long time of giving care instructions, I say if it's working, don't change it. You know, so go with if it's working. But I would hate to be watered by just one ice cube. I mean, if we just think about it, it's just a very small bit of water.
Yes, right.
And so I think it's better to water your plants when they need it, give them a good drink, and then let them go in between waterings.
Right.
So a good drink when they need it,
Right.
better than an ice cube.
All right. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned that you would love to share with people about orchids in general before we wrap up?
Well, I think one thing I would like to share about Shelldance that I find I'm very proud of is that we are in process of maybe becoming a historic landmark.
Oh, great.
And that is because these greenhouses were built in 1949. So here on the coast, overlooking the Pacific Ocean, for all these many years, growing orchids in the tradition that the original builders had visualized at the time, because this is a really cool niche, or a perfect niche, I would say, for cool growing plants. Yeah, so we've got great view, we've got the perfect environment for many of the cooler growing, intermediate growing orchids. So thus we have a rich diversity.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, that's fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you for inviting us in today.
I'm
It's
glad
great.
you came. Thank you.
Nancy.
Yes.